Hi everyone, today we're going to be creating some beautiful jewelry using a glass strand from Jesse James Beads. Jesse James Bead strands are really beautiful as is. Just look at how beautiful they are just in one single strand. But the great thing about these strands is that they can be broken down and you can create several different beautiful designs just from one strand, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you how to quickly and easily create 3 beautiful pairs of earrings out of a single strand from Jesse James Beads. So let's get started. Before we begin creating our jewelry, you're going to need some tools. You're going to need 2 pairs of chain nose pliers, a pair of round nose pliers, as well as a cutter tool for cutting any of the wire that we're going to use in our designs today. For our first earring design, we're only going to be using a couple of beads from this beautiful strand. So we are going to utilize one of the beautiful rondelle beads that is throughout the strand, as well as a rhinestone spacer and one of the tiny little rhinestone beads. You're only going to need a head pin and an ear wire to create this earring. The first thing you want to do is take your head pin and thread on your beautiful glass rondelle. Next, we're going to layer on the rhinestone spacer and our little rhinestone disco ball bead. Using chain nose pliers, we're going to create a simple loop at the top of our bead. So we're going to grab that wire right as it is exiting the last bead, and we're just going to give it a nice little bend. You can use your fingers as well, but if you are using a stiff head pin, it may help to use your chain nose pliers to bend that wire. Next, you want to come in with your cutter tool and trim off your wire, leaving yourself 1/4 to 1/2 inch of wire left over. Now, using round nose pliers, we're going to grab the tail end of that wire with our pliers, and we are going to roll backwards with the pliers back towards the beads to create a simple loop on the top of our beads. Use a pair of chain nose pliers to attach your ear wire to the top of your design, and your earring is complete. Repeat these steps and you have the mate to a very simple but elegant pair of earrings. For our second earring, you're going to need a head pin, an eye pin, 2 4mm jump rings, and an ear wire. Thread one of the beautiful glass faceted beads onto your head pin, and we are going to create a wrapped loop at the top of this bead. So you need your chain nose pliers, grab that wire right where it is exiting the bead, and bend the wire over the top of the pliers 90 degrees. Come in with your round nose pliers, holding that wire so that it is running between the barrel of the pliers, and guide that wire up and over the top barrel of the round nose pliers. Roll the pliers out of the way so that you have room on the other side of the loop that you are creating to take your wire over to the other side. Now, using a pair of chain nose pliers and keeping that loop on the round nose pliers, we want to grab the tail end of our wire and wrap it around about 3 times the straight section of wire between the top of the bead and the loop that you have created. Once you have completed the wire wrapping, you want to come in with your cutter tool and trim off the tail. Place this bead to the side as we create another wrapped loop on one of the rondelles. Thread your rondelle onto an eye pin. Repeat the previous steps to create a wrapped loop above the bead. Bending your wire. Using your round nose pliers to create the loop, going up and over the barrel of the pliers. And wire wrapping between the loop and the top of the bead. Use your cutter tool to trim off the tail. Now we're ready to assemble our earring. Use 2 pairs of pliers to open in a twisting motion one of the 4mm jump rings and thread on your bottom dangle bead, which is the larger of the glass beads we were using. Before we close the jump ring, we want to thread on the next part of our earring, and we're going to be utilizing one of the beautiful bead caps that was in the strand here. There are several bead caps that are running throughout the strand, and they have holes through them. So we are going to actually use this sideways by threading one of the holes of the bead caps onto our 4mm jump ring and then closing the jump ring back. When you've closed that jump ring, we're ready to add our second 4mm jump ring, and we're going to loop it through one of the top holes on this bead cap. Before we close it, we want to thread on our next glass bead. Once you've connected all of the beads for this earring, use your chain nose pliers to attach your ear wire. Repeat these steps to create another matching earring for your pair, and you have a second pair of beautiful earrings. For our third and final pair of earrings, you're going to need your head pin, an eye pin, 2 4mm jump rings, a 1/2 inch section of small gold chain, and your ear wire, as well as your selection of beads. Thread what will be your bottom bead onto your head pin. Following the same steps that we used in the second pair of earrings, you want to create a wrapped loop at the top of this bead. Grab the wire as it is exiting the bead, bending the wire 90 degrees. Use round nose pliers to grab the wire. Guide the wire up and over the top barrel. Roll the pliers out of the way and guide the wire over to the other side. Using your chain nose pliers to get a good grip on the wire, wire wrap about 3 to 4 times between the loop and the top of the bead. And when you have completed the wire wraps, cut off the tail. Thread the rest of your beads onto the eye pin, starting with one of the faceted rounds, a rhinestone spacer, and a glass teardrop bead. Repeat the wire wrapped loop steps to create a wrapped loop at the top of the beads. Using 2 pairs of chain nose pliers, open a 4mm jump ring and thread that onto the wrapped loop on the top of your bottom bead. Before closing that jump ring, thread on the bottom link of your 1/2 inch chain section and close the jump ring. Open the second jump ring with your chain nose pliers and thread the top loop from the chain onto your 4mm jump ring and the bottom loop on your second beaded section and close the jump ring. Now you're ready to use your chain nose pliers to attach your ear wire. Repeat these steps to create the match for this earring, and you have a pair of beautiful, elegant glass bead earrings. We've used one gorgeous glass bead strand to create 3 beautiful pairs of earrings, and we even had some beads left over.